10 features a
battle underway at the Orange Bowl in Miami. It is going to be John Martin from the 6. And John Martin with a good return across the 25. 19 yards on that return for the Tigers of Memphis State. The starting lineups brought to you by Russell Athletic. And we start with the offense for the Tigers of Memphis State, and their quarterback in only his second career start, the transfer from the University of Maryland, Tony Scarpino, joined by Holiday and Porter in the backfield. The wide receivers, Isaac Bruce, 65 receptions, their leading receiver, along with Anderson and Cody. And along the offensive front, we'll get to that in just a second as they come out in the eye, and they're throwing on first down. And it is Isaac Bruce, reception number 66 on the season. Now we get to the big offensive front. They are anchored in the middle by Jeff King. It is a senior-dominated offensive front. All 5 are seniors. And King has started every game in the offensive line for the last 3 seasons for Memphis State. So the completion good for 5 yards. 2nd and 5 now for the Tigers. Scarpino, a junior from Monroeville, Pennsylvania, just outside of the Pittsburgh area. Goes at 6'3", 215 pounds. Knocked away from Bruce. The defensive back timing it perfectly. That was Dexter Ziegler.
The whole plan, Joel, of Memphis State tonight is to throw quick. They know they're going to have trouble with the defensive tackles and defensive ends. So Tony Scarpino, the strategy by Carl Battershell, the offensive coordinator, throw the football quick.
Quick routes, intermediates, short passes. That's what they start with the first couple of plays. And now they're looking at a 3rd and 5 from their own 30. Memphis State bringing in a 6-4 record, guaranteed their 2nd consecutive winning season. The quick route and an interception, picked off by White. Off the deflection, the Hurricanes have it deep in Memphis State territory already. Paul White, the senior from Tampa, with the interception. Well, White, a big playmaker last year.
Plan is to throw quick, not let the defensive line get to you. Mike Anderson, number 3, hits him in the hands. Paul White, number 4, with the interception, and that's not what the Memphis State football team needs for their defense to be in the hole to start this football game.
It's the last thing they needed. So Miami very quickly, 1st and 10 at the Memphis State 25 with a single set of Donnell Bennett. And Collins going up top and almost had that one picked off. Good play in the secondary by Dan Bonner. Now the offensive look for Miami. Ryan Collins in his 6th career start. You might remember his 1st career start came right here on ESPN against Syracuse. The wide receivers, Chris T. Jones leads Miami. And also with Harris and Clausell. And up front, Rudy Barber, the guard. The senior and the only senior on the offensive line, the native of Miami. And what a big night it is for Barber. So it's 2nd and 10 from the 25. Available over the middle. It's complete for a first down to the 10 to Chris T. Jones, the leading receiver, the junior from West Palm Beach, Florida, at Cardinal Newman High School. Now the defensive look brought to you by Russell Athletics for Memphis State. Rod Mason up front. He's only a sophomore, already his 2nd starting season. Danton Bartow we'll talk about a lot. He has been an incredible starter last 3 years for Memphis State. Their true team leader defensively. And the leader in the secondary in picks, interceptions, Dominic Callaway. Inside the 10, 1st and goal, Bennett bangs it down inside the 7. Well, Miami, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Miami move the ball, but Memphis State has to be shocked by the early development.
Ryan Collins at quarterback. Miami, you were talking about. Joel got his first start here. Dennis Erickson started him against Syracuse. He wanted a spark. He wanted somebody to get him in the end zone. Ryan Collins has delivered that spark on offense.
He's a sophomore from Pembroke Pines, Florida. 6'2", 190-pounder. He sets up 3 wideouts on the 2nd and goal from outside the 7. The elusive Collins. down to the 4, and that's what he gives them that we haven't seen at Miami in so many years, Mike, because they've had the pro-style quarterback.
They've had to drop back quarterbacks, and what Ryan Collins brings to this field is a big playmaker. Dan Bonner, number 7, gets pressure, but the athletic ability of Ryan Collins is able to pick up good yardage, take it to the 4-yard line.
And a counting major. And a young man who definitely can do a lot of things. As we saw last week in that battle with West Virginia on that long pass where he scrambled forever, it seemed, and found A.C. Tellison. So now it is 3rd and goal from the 4. Collins in trouble. Can't get away. Great pressure by Richard Hogan's, the first one in there, the freshman from Columbus, Georgia.
What Memphis is doing to Miami is lining up in a defense, then moving before the snap of the ball. Richard Hogan's, number 14, you won't even see him until the snap of the football. He's able to come through and beat the block of Rick Perry, number 73, and make the sack on Ryan Collins.
So Miami can't capitalize on the 1st and goal situation down inside the 10. Now Dane Pruitt for a field goal try. It'll be a 33-yard attempt. Not many opportunities for Pruitt this year. 8 of 10. A 33-yard try to give Miami an early lead. Plenty of distance, and he gets it inside the upright. So the Hurricanes at least come away with 3, and in the opening minutes of play, Miami with the early lead on Memphis State.
You know, there's one thing that most sporting events have in common. When you
3 minutes and 3 seconds into the contest, a 33-yard field goal by the young man you're looking at now, Dane Pruitt. The sophomore from Birmingham, Alabama, has given Miami a 3-0 lead. Can they just do this? Cody and Martin back deep once again. It'll be John Martin from the 4. And again, John Martin giving the Tigers decent field position. Antonio Coley, reserve linebacker, the first one down there after the 20-yard return. And let's join Adrian Carson. Adrian?
Joel, the fact that Memphis State only gave up the field goal and not the touchdown is significant here, because before this team took the field pregame, they were reminded, hey, Coach Stobart has played Giant Killer before. He beat Southern Cal in a similar situation. Their assistant, Tim Rose, beat LSU when they were a top 20 team when he was the head coach at Miami of Ohio. So believe you can win, bend, but don't break.
Chuck Stobart leading the Tigers to back-to-back winning seasons for the first time for that program since '77. It's the fullback Holiday on first down with good yardage on first down. 5 and almost 6. And now defensively, Kevin Patrick will lead it for Miami. Already a Kodak All-America selection, the right end out of Palm Springs, Florida. The linebackers, Rohan Marley is going to start. He was a little nicked up at the end of the last game of the loss to West Virginia, but he is going to start after career best game where he had 16 tackles in their last one. And Dexter Siegler, the corner, the senior from Avon Park, Florida, once again leading the team in interceptions for the 2nd season. Not much available that time for Memphis State on the ground. A couple of yards to the 31, and that is it.
Adrian was talking about Chuck Stobart taking the Memphis team to Southern Cal. That big win. Tim Rose, the defensive coordinator, knocking off LSU in Baton Rouge. But if they would pull this upset tonight, I don't know. There'd be a shot heard around the world, because when you're going for a streak like Miami, you expect them to play their best tonight, Joe.
Chuck Stobart, 8 years an assistant at Michigan under Bo Schembechler, so he saw some great ones there. Scarpino already picked off once. It is the 3rd and 3. And he throws it behind the intended target, John Martin. Martin was available, and the Tigers with a flag down to the play. In a punting situation, if it is 4th down. What's the flag all about, though?
Maybe on Robert Bass, the middle linebacker, personal foul call.
J.C. Louderback, the referee.
dead ball, personal foul on the defense, automatic 1st down.
It's on the middle linebacker, Joe, Robert Bass. Pickup number 49. There's the hit. Now he ran right through him, stepped up and bumped him, and that's the call.
Basically uncalled for.
Uncalled for. And Robert Bass is heading to the sideline.
So a first down for Memphis State, their first first down of the contest. It comes by way of penalty as Burgess, a true freshman, takes over for Bass. And it's out to the 46-yard line. The tailback this time, Larry Porter. Only a couple of yards at the most. Give him a yard. Larry Porter with 41 yards tonight. An opportunity to move into second place on the all-time rushing list for Memphis State.
Joel, this is Tony Scarpino's second start. He took over for Steve Matthews, and Matthews was having a great year at Memphis State. A lot of the pro people, Gil Brandt told me he felt like he'd be the real surprise of the draft. So Tony Scarpino has filled in admirably in the 2 games that he's played here for Memphis State.
2nd and 9 from the 47. Scarpino in trouble, and he's sacked back at the 40. Kevin Patrick, the All-America, along with Warren Sapp, and it's a loss of 7 yards.
What's always made this Miami defense is the front 4. When you get a push from the tackles, Warren Sapp, number 76, gets the push up inside. Then Kevin Patrick comes from the outside. Darren Crine, number 91. They're so quick from the outside. You see Kevin Patrick, who's just had a great career here at Miami, along with Darren Crine, the 2 ends, bookends.
Robert Bass is back into the game now, but you're talking of the bookends. There's Darren Crine. Across the way, Kevin Patrick. Patrick, first team All Big East last year, and that didn't mean much, but this year, first team All Big East, there's some pretty strong names. We'll get into that in just a second. 3rd and long. They set up the screen. The running back, Whitman Spalding. And is it taken away? Miami says they're coming up with a loose ball.
Official says it's down, and I believe they're going to blow it dead.
Whitman Spalding, not much blocking on the little swing. Spalding, a redshirt freshman, and it is going to be a punting situation. And back to the Big East. Who would have believed that there would be 4 teams in the top 25 of the Big East, and not one of the 4 Syracuse?
Had a good year, and you see Warren Sapp, number 76, with the pressure. Then Paul White, number 4, reacting to the screen. There was just no ability to get away, and then Paul White stripped the football, but the official called it dead.
Dexter Siegler waiting for the punt from McWilliams. Very high, short one. They'll stay away from it, and it takes a Miami roll. So the Hurricanes, as it was touched outside of the 45 and now knocked out of bounds, will get it back in great field position when we come back with a 3-point lead.
1993, we designed a new car.
The only other time these 2 programs got together was back at the Liberty Bowl in 1969. And Memphis State won it 26-13. Only an 11-yard punt by McWilliams gives Miami the ball 1st and 10 at their own 47. Then at the single set. Collins with plenty of time. Going up to get it. What a grab. Chris T. Jones takes it down to the 27. First down, Miami.
Joe, when I was at Pittsburgh, we had Chris Jones signed, and then they released him, and he came to Miami, but always felt like he was going to be an outstanding receiver. The knock on Ryan Collins so far this year, as you look at his numbers, he's 4-1. Frank Costa 4-1. 4 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns for Ryan Collins, but the 8 interceptions. They believe he just jumps out of the pocket too soon, doesn't let things develop, always wants to make a big play.
Well, unfortunately, after that play, Chris Jones came over favoring his right ankle. They set up trips and they run the ball with James Stewart on his first carry of the contest. And a healthy game close to another first down. Stewart, the sophomore from Vero Beach, Florida. He missed all of last year with a pinched nerve in his neck. His first carry tonight, good for just about 10.
He fumbled twice in the West Virginia game, so it was important that he be able to start this game, have some success. Gets a good block by Rick Perry. And the problem for Miami in the West Virginia game is they only rushed for 61 yards against that very good West Virginia defense. They need to run the football, and James Stewart is a back, that's a big back at 6'3", 235 that can give you that load running in there.
Well, Miami has run it for over 200 yards in 5 games this year. The last time that Miami accomplished that was back in the 1978 season. They've got it by the nose. 1st and 10 Hurricanes. But what we talked about earlier is probably negated the run to a certain extent with the great pro style of quarterback they've had here in the program for the last 20 years.
That has done it. And also, Joe, when you throw the ball like Miami has, you're not going to be a running team at offensive line and knock somebody off the ball. You're a finesse type of offensive line.
7.5 minutes left in the first 15 minutes of play. Miami on a 33-yard field goal by Pruitt with a 3-0 lead. Bennett. He gets it down to the 15 for a gain of a couple. Well, great college basketball coming your way a little bit later this evening on ESPN. The Great Alaska Shootout. Portland taking on the number 21 Purdue Boilermakers with their outstanding preseason All-America Glenn Robinson. That is tonight on ESPN at midnight. And then tomorrow, more college basketball. It'll be Tennessee taking on the number 20 Syracuse Orangemen. They bring back the leading returner scorer in the Big East. They call him Poetry in Moton, Lawrence Moton. Great college basketball tonight and tomorrow. 2nd and 8 for the Hurricanes at the 15 of Memphis State. Behind the intended target, that was Jonathan Harris. He's a junior from Houston.
Tim Rose, the defensive coordinator, when he talked about stopping Miami, he said, if you play a passing team, you look at Tim. Tim was a head coach at Miami of Ohio. Did a nice job there. But to stop a passing team, you first have to stop the run. You can't let them have both dimensions against you.
Right now, Miami throwing the ball extensively in the early going. 6:40 left in the first quarter of play. Collins this time out of the shotgun on 3rd and just about 8. Bennett on the dump off. Ever tough to bring down. He loses yardage, but it took about a half dozen. Finally, the free safety came in. Jeremy Williams, a senior from Columbus, Georgia.
But the quickness of the Memphis State defense. Adam Diaz, number 47, will blitz. Number 7 coming from the outside, Dan Bonner. But look at the quickness of the Memphis State defense. Not 1, not 2, not 3. There's about 9 guys getting a shot at Donnell Bennett. The hustle and the pursuit by the Memphis State defense.
They are helping Brian Barnett over to the sideline, the nose guard for the Tigers. A loss of 4 on that last play. Great pursuit for the Tigers, watching 2 of the top 7 teams in the nation in total defense. Memphis State number 7 and Miami number 4 coming in.
Has to be frustrating for Dennis Erickson, because the reason he installed Brian Collins in the ball game was to get into the end zone when they get inside the 30-yard line.
36-yard try by Pruitt. True to form, he is 2 for 2 in the contest, and Miami is on top by 6. 5:57 left in the first 15, and the Hurricanes capitalize with a good field position once again. Dennis Erickson, only the 2nd coach in NCAA history to win a national championship. In his first year at school, the only other one to do it, Benny Oosterbaan, back in Michigan in 1948. Pruitt kicking it away to that combo, the law firm of Cody and Martin. And it's going to be Cody from the goal line. Again, getting good returns from Cody and Martin. James Burgess on the special teams stop. But it's almost out to the 28-yard line. So the Tigers have started now at their own 25, the 24, and this is their 3rd possession at the 28. Now, can they sustain a drive? Because eventually it's going to get to their defensive unit. The temperature is fortunately in the mid-70s, but the humidity is also in the mid-70s. Scarpino, a young man that grew up in the Pittsburgh area. What a thrill this has to be. This is dreamland for Tony Scarpino. His parents at the Orange Bowl tonight watching his 2nd career start. 1st and 10 from the 28. The reverse. And they get it outside to Cody. Good yardage for Cody all the way to the midfield stripe and then some. To the Miami 46-26 on the end around, the reverse by Matt Cody. Ziegler, the cornerback, in on the hit.
When you play against a team that pursues like Miami, watch Rohan Marley and the pressure coming inside. They're going right after the football. Reverse. Good call on the reverse, because now you're outside. All that pursuit. Matt Cody with a good game, but they took advantage of the aggressiveness of the Miami defense.
Matt Cody, young man from St. Louis's Vashon High School. He's a junior. He got 26, 1st and 10 from the 46. They go the other way on the reverse to Bruce. And Bruce takes it inside the 40 to the 39. Kevin Patrick on that tackle. So the reverse with possibly a group of over pursuers from Miami working on 2 consecutive plays. Coach, what about the misdirection and the delays later?
Sending a message to the Miami defense. We're just trying to slow you down. Even if it doesn't work, and it did work twice, You look at the leading tacklers. Rohan Marley wasn't supposed to play tonight, but he's one tackle behind Corwin Francis for the lead. He's going to play whether he's hurt or not. C.J. Richardson, a safety, has 82. So if I'm a coach and I look in the safeties, the third leading tackler, we'll try to catch him on a play-action pass behind him.
2nd and 3 from the 39. The tailback, Porter, battling his way to the marker, very close to where he needed to go for the first down. The senior from Columbus, Georgia. He needed 41 coming in to move into 2nd place on the all-time rushing list for Memphis State.
If you're going to play against a Miami team and you're Memphis State, you have to do things out of the normal. Chuck Stobart, the 2 reverse calls were good. I mean, you have to throw when they think you're going to run. You've got to run when they think you're going to throw passes. You have to screen, trap, draw, reverse, delay. You've got to do it all to them.
So the gadget plays you didn't work on all that much over the first 8-10 weeks of the season, you worked on this week.
Bring everything out of the bag. Don't leave anything in the bag tonight.
3rd and less than a yard for Memphis State, hitting on 41% of their 3rd down tries on the season. Holiday, the fullback, with a big hole. He's got the first down. He's down to the 33 of Miami on a drive that started back at the Memphis State 28.
The big question I had tonight about this Miami football team is they've not been in this situation. As you mentioned at the start of the show, they're out of the national picture. So would they come in flat tonight? Would they be flat in this thing, even though they're trying to break the tie the streak? And it looks to me like they're a little lethargic. Those 2 reverses have kind of got to them a little bit.
We'll talk about that streak once again in just a second. 1st and 10, Memphis State. The short drop for Scarpino. Good concentration by Cody, the wide receiver, taking it in just inside the 30, but back to the streak very quickly. They're looking for their 57th consecutive win at the Orange Bowl. The last time they lost to the Orange Bowl, September 7th, 1985, their season opener to Florida. A 35-23 setback. Let's go downstairs. Adrian Carson. Adrian.
Injury to Brian Barnett, the nose guard for Memphis State. Joel, here's the situation. He twisted his knee, has ice on it right now. They're going to sit him out of series, but Coach Rose looked at him and said, look, we got to get you back in the ballgame.
Only true freshman to start for the Tigers last year. That would be a huge loss to sophomore. 2nd and 7. Scarpino, the pocket holds up well. He's got Bruce. Touchdown, Memphis State. The Tigers get on the board. Beat the combo in the secondary of Terrace Harris and Paul White on the 30-yard strike from Scarpino. And he had great protection.
Good protection on that pass. It was off of play action. Good fake by Tony Scarpino, but Terrace Harris just was beaten. Number 83, Isaac Bruce, working down the field, breaks to the inside. Terrace Harris, number 6, overruns the play, and wide open Isaac Bruce.
Joe Allison, the senior from Atlanta, in for the point after try, and Memphis State has their first lead of the contest. 2:45 left in the opening 15 minutes of play, and a surprise early with Memphis State even gaining an early advantage on Miami. Stoney Scarpino celebrating with the rest of the Tigers. Perfect pattern by Isaac Bruce, their leading receiver.
Here, Miami, that's a little bit of a wake-up call for you, because you can just tell they're a little flat, Joel, not getting the ball in the end zone the first 2 times inside the 30. And what you do when you allow that touchdown pass and you allow yourself not to score on them when you get the football inside the 50-yard line, you give hope to Memphis State. And Memphis State now starts to play a little more loose and starts believing every minute that goes off that clock that they've got a chance.
Well, we talked about at the top of the telecast, Miami, a disappointed group. They're not a part of the national championship picture. They're hoping to set up with a win here, a date with Arizona at the Fiesta Bowl.
Joe, I talked to a couple of the coaches at practice the other day, and when they had their game against Rutgers when they didn't play real well, that was the day that Florida State was beaten by Notre Dame, and they knew that Florida State had to beat Notre Dame for them to have any chance at the national picture, and they went flat when the Notre Dame score came across.
Dexter Siegler will bring back the Allison kickoff from the 1, and he is belted down in a hurry after a 19-yard return. It was Frank Fletcher, reserve fullback. The basic heat-seeking missile. I think we heard that one up here, Coach.
Frank Fletcher just with a good hit. That ball came loose, too, but they're calling it dead at the 20. Now, if you're Memphis State, Joe, you've got the lead. Now, you cannot allow Miami. The one thing Miami can do on you with offensively is they can hit a big play. You must make them work the field.
Chris Jones, good news for the Hurricane fans, who's back in the lineup despite the fact that he limped over to the sideline after that one grab he made. Dago trips over to the near side. 1st and 10 from the 20. The wide receiver, the slot man Harris, with a 1st down for Miami on the completion to the 33. All the way to the 34 for 14 yards, put down by Jeremy Williams, the free safety.
Only one starter on this offensive football team of Miami is a senior, so you're always looking for leadership, and Ryan Collins, even though he's only a sophomore, has to supply that leadership.
So often it looks like Collins wants to leave the pocket, wants to break the containment. It's got to be tough for him to hang in there and wait for the pattern to develop. Here comes the pressure. He throws it away. It does not draw a flag with the great pressure from Tony Williams, a freshman, a true freshman from Germantown, Tennessee.
There really wasn't a receiver there for him to throw to. Tony Williams with the pressure, number 53. But watch the people he throws to are all linemen. Number 28, James Stewart, was far out on the left side. He wasn't even near the football.
Very fortunate there wasn't a grounding call. Bennett back in the lineup now for Miami on a 2nd and 10 from the 34. And Ryan Collins changing the play at the line. He had Jones open forever and finally had it sail over, and now a flag, a late flag on what could be a personal foul on Callaway.
They're definitely going to get Dominic Callaway, number 1. The ball was way over the head of the receiver, Chris Jones.
Dead ball, personal, on White, automatic 1st down.
Look at the defensive line. When you're small and you're quick and you're up against a big offensive line, you have to move around before the snap of the ball. You see the movement. Once the ball snapped, too, you'll see a looping, a slanting, delayed blitz, a lot of just different uses of the defensive line so that you take away the size differential that Miami has.
Trying to mix it up on the defensive front. 15-yard mark off, and now Miami with a 1st down at their own 49, trailing by a point. 2:07 left in the 1st quarter. Stewart this time is single set, but Collins with a flag down in the play. He'll take it on his own. What a great athlete. He picks up the 1st down, but there's a flag back at the line of scrimmage. He gets a 1st down to the 40 of Memphis State on an 11-yard run.
That looked to me like it was offside. Now, I may be entirely wrong here, but it looked to me like Memphis State may have lined up offside. Maybe, we'll see, but that's what it looked like. Again, Ryan Collins with the improvising, taking off.
He looks like he'd be a sensational option quarterback, doesn't he?
He'd be an excellent option quarterback. It is offside on Memphis State. So it looks like the left defensive end at the top. Let me circle him here a second. Right here, looks like he had just leaned over the football a little bit. And that's the penalty. There's Tim Rose, really active. He's saying, I'm going to deal you a card here now, unless I want to deal a good defense. Well, I tell you what, he's got so much enthusiasm. Coached high school ball at Lorraine Catholic 100 years ago. Did a great job at that little parochial school in Ohio.
Memphis State out rushing Miami in the first 13 minutes of the game. The Hurricanes with a 1st down to the Memphis State 40. Collins will keep it. Not that he wanted to. And he's out of bounds after a gain of 1.5 yards, 2 yards. Rod Mason, the right tackle, forcing them out on that side, the sophomore from Memphis.
Memphis State is winning the war at the line of scrimmage. Rod Brown, number 55, on the blitz. Rod Mason, number 66, with a big play. But watch the war at the line of scrimmage. There's the fake blitz. Now he steps back. Now he comes. Now he is able, number 55, Rod Brown, to force Ryan Collins out of the pocket. Now comes pick up 66. Rod Mason makes the tackle. So they're forcing Ryan Collins out of his rhythm.
2nd and 8 for the Hurricanes at the 38. Collins with a wide open receiver taking it in. Jermaine Chambers very close to another Miami first down. Better protection that time for Ryan Collins.
Here's the size differential. When you look at the defensive front of Memphis State, you have a 6'2", 210 defensive end against a 6'7", 300-pound tackle. The other side of the coin, you got 6'2", 210, the other linebacker against a 6'7", 310. Now, when I see that, I figure